Hi, everyone. I'm back. I'm doing an interview with Brian Chesky from Airbnb. Airbnb today announced that it's offering free temporary housing to 20,000 Afghan refugees from around the world, or around the world, rather. I should say that, not just in the United States. So Airbnbs around the world. And we're going to talk to him about how it works. We're back. Thank you, guys. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. I think Brian's a very busy guy. He's out in California, and I'm on New York time. So let's see if we can find him. Let's see. I don't see him, but I'm going to look for him right now on here. Here he is, B. Chesky. Hold on. Brian, you there? B. Hold on. Hi, you guys. Sorry about this. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for him, you guys. Do you see him on there? There are a lot of people who want to join me. Anyway, I was giving some facts about what was going on. Why is this not working? Okay, hold on, everybody. I know this is the joys of modern technology. So I've got you, Brian, but then... Okay, he should be there. Do you guys see him? Every time I do a search and then I see him checked, but I don't see him in the thing. Hi, everybody. Is Brian requesting? I'm looking for him, you guys. Does anybody have any ideas on how I can do this? Julia? Has he requested? He hasn't. I find him. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm not losing my mind. Let us know how we can help and know our funds are going to legitimate organizations. Thank you, Amanda. You guys, thank you for helping me with this. It's Brian Chesky. We're talking to him. He's the CEO of Airbnb. And Brian says he's there, but has he requested? That's the question. He DM'd that he's here. Okay, let me check again, you guys. Oh, here we go. I know, I've been checking you guys for Brian. And okay, I think I see him. Hold on. Yay. I see him. I don't think he had requested, but you know, what the hell do I know about technology, obviously.
There we are. Hey, sorry, I had trouble getting on. I'm sorry about that, to make all you wait.
Do not worry. You're so sweet to even do this. And I think everybody...
Of course.
Honestly, to hear what you have to say, Brian, what motivated you to do this and how it's going to work, and honestly, how people can help, because I think there's so many people who want to give to organizations. They want to make sure that their money is going to legitimate organizations. And so tell me real quickly what you announced and why you announced it, Brian.
Yeah, so today we announced that Airbnb, in conjunction with airbnb.org, will provide housing for 20,000 Afghan refugees for free. So the way it's going to work is that, we're working with resettlement partners, resettlement agencies. So there's two really big ones we're working with: the International Rescue Committee and the World Church Service.
Which is an incredible organization. I just have to give a shout out.
Yes.
So many people who are involved with that organization, and it's very legit and has been around for a long time. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I think Albert Einstein perhaps founded it, and so it's a long time. And then the Church World Service. So they are resettlement partners. So their expertise is working with the State Department in countries all over the world that receive refugees. And then what they do is they find partners like us. And so what we do is we match all the refugees coming from resettlement agencies with our host. And so what we're doing is we're putting out a call to our host. We've done this for over 10 years. So we provided housing over the last 10 years to hundreds of thousands of people that were displaced. We've housed about 25,000 refugees alone since 2017. And the difference is, though, we're going to pay for it completely. So, hosts can offer their homes for free, but whether they offer free or not, we're going to cover the whole cost. So obviously we're coming out of pocket. So Airbnb, Airbnb.org, and then I'm also putting money in as well. So that's how the whole system works. We'll provide housing in any country in the world where a host is willing to offer housing, and we have a partner that can provide it. So it's not just limited to the United States. Hopefully this will be in hundreds of countries. We're in 220 countries and regions.
So where do you expect, Brian, the greatest need, and what countries? Because as you said, you're in many, many countries, but what are you seeing where the greatest need is at this point?
Well, probably here in the United States. I don't have a definitive readout. Over the weekend, the way this kind of all came about is, we provided housing for about 200 refugees. Even that logistically was a little bit of a lift. And so we had 200 refugees here in the United States in cities like Cleveland and cities all over the country. And we started really obviously getting an indication that there were so many thousands more people that would need housing. But we didn't want to make a commitment if we didn't feel like we could fulfill the commitment. So we worked over the weekend. I worked with my co-founder, Joe. Joe's obviously my co-founder. He also helped really create airbnb.org, which is really the arm, that the 501c3 that provides the housing. And so we worked over the weekend to figure out, can we actually logistically pull this off? Yesterday, I and Joe co-wrote a letter to President Biden telling him we're here to help. We're ready to provide housing for 20,000 people. We know we can pull it off. We didn't want to announce something without the green light from the administration. And they said, yes, we would love to have the support. So we're really focused on all countries, but the United States, I think, is probably where we've heard the greatest need, and we are prepared to provide a lot of housing. And if anyone wants to provide housing, all you have to do is go to airbnb.org. You just go to airbnb.org, you can sign up. It's pretty simple.
Airbnb.org, that is, as you mentioned, Brian, the philanthropic arm of Airbnb.
Yep.
Started during Hurricane Sandy, I just
That's
read.
right. That's
yeah,
right.
So tell us the genesis of your nonprofit arm.
Oh, yeah. So it's great. So I think it was 2012, if I'm not mistaken, Hurricane Sandy was maybe October 2012. Obviously, there was this huge storm. It displaced a lot of people in New York. And so we started getting messages about people that had lost their home or were displaced from their home. One day, we get an email from a host in New York City. Her name is Shell. I think she lived in Brooklyn. And she said, I've read about all these people that need housing. I'd like to house them in my home, but I don't need to charge money. I'm happy to host them for free. Well, at the time, we required you to charge money because any free authorizations seemed like a scam, like you would go around the platform. So we had to kind of modify our platform to even be able to accept free reservations. We did it, and that became the Open Homes program, which is providing housing for those in need. It was initially for disasters. I remember before I started Airbnb, Hurricane Katrina had happened, and I always thought to myself, if something like this ever happened again, there's no reason for thousands of people to be stranded if thousands of other people want to provide housing. You just need a platform that can match them. We already built that platform. So over the last 10 years, we've focused on providing housing. The majority of people we've housed are displaced because of a natural disaster. But 4 years ago, we started working with the International Rescue Committee and other organizations to be able to take in refugees. Refugees is a little bit typically heavier lift than disaster displacement because they're kind of more permanently displaced. And so you have to, the housing need is typically a little bit longer. But that's how it started. Now, we created the 501c3 last year before we went public because we thought, I always thought of going public as it's a kind of putting a cake in the oven, you start baking it. And so you kind of don't want to change the ingredients after you put it in the oven. So I thought if we're going to go public, I want the world to know that there's this other part of Airbnb, Airbnb.org. And so that's what we created. So
a lot of people are asking, and I'm curious, Brian, how long do you provide housing? And do you work with other agencies and organizations that can help sort of with the whole resettlement process? Because obviously, this housing isn't indefinite, and there has to be all kinds of a whole process of if these individuals hope to stay in the United States or in other countries where you might be housing them. So how does that work?
Yeah, so just to answer your first question on how long's the housing, unclear. I mean, it's really how long the need is. These aren't typically permanent needs because these are temporary needs before these refugees figure out where they want to live. That's a major decision. Where do you want to live in your life? Certainly, typically, it's certainly, a few weeks at a time. But the reason we didn't put out a dollar commitment of how much this whole effort's costing us is because we actually don't know how long the housing is. So we don't actually know how expensive this is going to be. But we're going to go where the need is. We're going to provide housing for as long as people need the housing. And so typically these resettlement agencies, for example, International Rescue Committee, they're the ones that are really in touch with the refugees, and it's their job to get them into the Airbnb, but it's also their job to find a more permanent settlement, more permanent community for them. The only other thing I just say is what I think is really special about what we do, or what our hosts do, is they're not just getting a space. I mean, it's really important if you don't have a home that you have a roof over your head. But what we hear time and time again is people need more than a roof over their head. They want to be part of a community. They want to have a feeling of home. And having a host, these incredibly generous people, take them into their home, show them around their community, and make them feel like, everyone deserves a home. And I think that's what our hosts are able to offer. So that's what we do. As far as the very specific logistics of all the support they need, these are typically the resettlement agencies. There's other nonprofits. We work with quite a few nonprofits with airbnb.org, and there's a lot that have specialties.
I would love to it would be really interesting to interview an Airbnb host.
Oh, it would be. Well, we could I'm sure we have a lot to choose from.
Someone who has opened his or her or their home to a refugee in need, and kind of what motivated them, because, obviously they're the people who are opening their doors and their hearts to these folks who are
totally
desperate. I'm curious, I should probably know the answer to this, Brian, but do we even know how many refugees may be arriving in the United States from Afghanistan? I know that in the last 24 hours, 37 U.S. military flights evacuated approximately 12,700 from Afghanistan. There's commercial airlines. You probably heard Prime Minister Trudeau of Canada committed to resettling 20,000 Afghans into that country. Do you have any idea? Germany has granted 10,000 local staff and family members in Afghanistan the right to come to Germany. Only 1,800 have made it out. This is at not your jurisdiction, but from what I'm hearing, Brian, it is incredibly treacherous to actually get to the airport to leave the country now.
Right.
The Taliban is not allowing the people of Afghanistan to actually leave the country. So it's a pretty dire situation, isn't it? Are you getting any reports from on the ground that you could share with us? I'm just curious.
Well, I mean, we've heard a variety of numbers. I'm cautious about putting out numbers because I don't know how reliable they are, but we do expect more than 20,000 refugees, obviously, in the United States. I'm sure in the tens of thousands. Now, whether these numbers approach hundreds of thousands, it's a very dynamic situation. And I will just say we've been pretty overwhelmed by the response. Our goal when we put out the 20,000 number wasn't that we thought we were under some impression that we were going to solve this problem alone. We thought we're one company. This is what we can do over the course of working really hard over the weekend. But what's happened since this morning, or since midnight when I tweeted, and I wasn't really expecting the response we got, is the response has been so overwhelming. We've had so many people want to help. So we're just kind of a little bit drinking from a fire hose here, and we're doing everything we can. But I really don't want to turn anyone away if they need housing from Airbnb. And if people want to provide housing, I want to be able to match them with the refugee family. So we're going to go as big as we can pull off logistically. I think it's going to be only limited to our logistics, whatever it costs within reason, we'll absolutely be able to do. And as far as just getting people out of the country, I mean, yes, there's a whole nother operation. I know a number of fairly wealthy individuals that are chartering private planes to be able to try to pick people up out of private airports. So there's quite a lot of generosity going on. We're just one company. It's my hope that maybe the actions we did today, again, it's less that we can make a major dent in this, but maybe the biggest impact we can have is inspire even more actions, because I think this is obviously one of the greatest global humanitarian crises of our lifetime. And I think, you're going to need probably hundreds, maybe thousands of individual business leaders standing up obviously getting people out of the country, that's a whole operation. Whether the airlines or just wealthy individuals want to charter planes or whatever the new protocol is, we really focus once they arrive to a country. The other thing we've heard from a lot of countries is they like that we have housing because some countries are just nervous providing visas if they don't know if people are going to end up with housing. And so if this, helps inspire countries to be a little bit more comfortable to make sure that this process is going to be a little more orderly, I think that's a good thing.
And what kind of feedback have you gotten? You said you've been kind of overwhelmed by the response. By the
Well,
way,
just so
I
much feedback. Yeah.
know people drop off. I want to mention, Brian, that if people are interested in supporting this effort, they can go to airbnb.org. And
Yep. Just airbnb.org.
what if they're interested in hosting a family?
Yeah, well, most of the refugees will be families. So if you're interested in hosting a family, you just go to .org. You can sign up right there, and we try to make it really simple. So there's a button, become a host. You click the button, and then there should be a workflow to be able to host a refugee family. Almost all the refugees are families, as far as I can tell, and I'm sure they're not all, but quite a few of them are. So, and I think the other thing I just say is I think the value. I mean, here's a thing that I think is not beyond what meets the eye, beyond it just being an act of generosity to open your home to a refugee family. Having myself talked to quite a few Airbnb hosts who've opened their homes to families that are displaced, I think they find that they get as much out of the experience as the refugee family or the displaced family providing that's offered housing. It becomes for them, many of them, an incredibly meaningful experience, one of the most meaningful experiences of their lives. I don't know, it's just such an important thing that you'll never forget. And so I think that hopefully people feel really compelled to be able to help, obviously. And I'm just so inspired by the generosity of our community that people stepping up. But as far as the overwhelming response, I guess we just weren't expecting the volume of response. The thousands of people that have wanted to list their homes, the people thanking us, and even the interest of people saying, yeah, we know a family member that needs a place to stay.
Wow. Well, a lot of people are, someone asked where they can donate. It's airbnb.org, which is the
Yep,
philanthropic arm of Airbnb. There are a lot of people. Can I sign up to be a host just to do
yeah,
this?
of
And Dylan,
course.
my good friend who's watching this. And, I think it's incredibly impressive, Brian, that you're doing this,
Oh,
that you're
thank you.
getting your own funds. I know that Airbnb went public and you're now the world's most valuable hospitality company. Congratulations, all of that, but also congratulations for doing the right thing and stepping up. And I think, I think it would be really interesting to talk to a host.
Yeah,
If you're,
we can totally do it. Yeah, let's do it.
yeah, go to Airbnb. What if people are already hosts and perhaps they're learning about this, or they want to make sure that they're opening up their homes to an Afghan family?
So same thing, they just go to .org, and if you're already a host, the workflow is even easier because you already have a listing. But either way, you should just go to .org because that's the way we know that you're interested in hosting somebody in need.
Have you heard from your mom? I know she's your biggest fan.
Yes, exactly. Well, I told her I was going on the show. She wanted to make sure that she got a plug, and I said hi on her behalf. So
Tell her I said hi too, and
I
she should
will.
be proud of her son. And
Oh, well,
again,
thank you so much, Katie.
let us know how we can continue to share this with my community. I've really an incredible community here on
Of
Instagram, full of
course.
very smart and compassionate people. And maybe you could arrange for me to talk to a host and an
Yep.
Afghan family who's just arrived when they get a little settled. Oh, that's an interesting question. Someone asked, are these people who are being resettled from Afghanistan, are they COVID negative? Because obviously, let us not forget we're in the midst of a pandemic and we want to protect the hosts and the family members.
Yeah, I don't have all the details, but I'm quite sure that these resettlement agencies, they do quite a bit of screening. And so it's their job to make sure that a family who receives them is comfortable. I would presume that information like that would be part of what would be shared with the host family.
And I just want to mention again, just because it's important, the two organizations with whom you're working, the IRC, the International Rescue Committee, which is a fabulous organization. The second one, my friend Amanda Haas said, they're a fabulous organization too. What is the name of that? Because I also think people could donate to those organizations as well.
Church World Service.
Church World Service.
Yep,
Okay.
another resettlement agency. Yep.
I know you got a busy schedule, a lot going on. Thanks for making time to talk to me,
Thank
Brian.
you. Thank you so
Appreciate it.
much, Katie. It's great to see you again.
See you, and let us know how it's going and if we can be helpful in spreading the word about any of this too.
I appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone watching. Thank you for the support. Thank you for considering this obviously quite dire situation. But again, it's we can make we can make the best out of a pretty bad situation and rise to the occasion. And I just appreciate everyone for considering it.
All right. Thanks so much, Brian. Great to
Thank you,
see you.
Katie.
Talk
Thank
to
you,
you soon.
everyone.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.